What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Shuffle Squad's YouTube channel. I'm Jerrick, and today I'll be going over one of the best, if not the best, deck in the current standard format. And that deck is, you guessed it, Charizard EX. Now let's dive into a deck list. So here's where I'm at with my current deck list on Charizard. I like playing a 2-1-1 Charmander split. Playing 2 with the Blazing Destruction attack is good to bump Path to the Peak. Playing 1 promo, it has Ember that hits for 40. It's good to hit into a Shining Arcana Guardy. And I still like playing 1 Heat Tackle Charmander. It does only have 60 HP, but for 1 energy, I like poking for 30 into things like the Mirror Match. It's good to knock out a Roaring Moon after they use Frenzied Gouging, and it could knock out a Shining Arcana Guardy. 2-2 Pidgeot line's pretty standard. I like the Call for Family Pidgey. I know it does have 50 HP, but thanks to the support Pokemon, Jirachi and Manaphy, things like Sableye and Greninja are not as scary as they used to be. So I'd play the 50 HP because Call for Family is really good in a pinch. Then the support Pokemon are a Mew, a Lumineon V, and a Rotom. Now the supporters, they stayed unchanged. 4 Arven, 3 Boss, 3 Iono, and 1 Professor's Research. For the Pokemon Search, again, that remained unchanged. 4 Battle VIP Pass and 4 Ultra Ball for maximum consistency. And of course, also 4 Rare Candy. It's a Stage 2 deck, so 4 Rare Candies makes the most sense. And then we do only play 1 Level Ball. That's the cut I made to add the Switch in there, but 1 Level Ball is fine. And I think you need the Switch now because Miraidon is playing things like Coco EX. So it's good to get out of Paralysis, and I like just having 1 raw Switch option in general in my decks. 2 counter catchers also, I think it's really good. Having a total of potentially 5 gust effects is really good in a deck like this. 2 Lost Vacuums, gets rid of things like Bravery Charm, another out to Path to the Peak. It's searchable with Mew, findable with Mew I should say, and searchable with Arven. The tools, I like the 1 Forest Seal Stone, the 1 Vit Band. I think those must stay in the deck. And then this third slot, I've been liking the Technical Machine Devolution. I know some people like the Justified Gloves, the Defiance Band, but I think the Devolution's good. It's good into things like the Mirror Match. It could be good into Guardy, good into Chen Pao. It's got a lot of niche uses, and I think it definitely deserves a spot in here. And then, of course, there's 1 Super Rod. I like the 7 energy, 1 Super Rod split. I know Azul did make top 8 in Portland. I know his group were on 2 Super Rod and 6 Fire Energy. I personally couldn't get behind it, so I'm still on the 7 Fire Energy, 1 Super Rod. But again, you could play around with that and see what counts you like best. And then for the stadiums, 2 Lost Cities. The Lost City's good to deal with Baxcaliburs, good to deal with Guardies, good to deal with Radiant Charizard. It's got a lot of niche uses, and I wasn't finding too much use out of my Artazon. And then, of course, 1 Collapsed Stadium. Gets rid of damaged Pokemon and helps get rid of some of the liabilities that are on your bench. Now, without further ado, let's get into a game and let's see how this list rolls.
Hey trainers, tired of having too many cards lying around? I know that feeling, and I know what a hassle it is to try and sell those cards. But selling bulk is now easier than ever with TCG Bulk. Find tons of potential buyers in a single place. You just download the app, look for the best buyer near you, and carefully pack your bulk, ship it, and you get paid. It really is that simple. Turn the cards you don't want into the cards you absolutely need for your next deck.
Okay, so typically with Zard in all matchups, or in a blind matchup, I always want to go second. Going second gives me more outs to Battle VIP Pass, because I can Arven on the first turn and set up. And setting up is like really detrimental in the Zard deck, so I almost exclusively go second. The only time I would like consider going first is into Guardy or into Chen Pao Bax. Because into Guardy, then they need an extra turn to Mirage Step, they need an extra turn to Evolve, and then an extra turn to Swing, where you might be able to take a big enough prize lead that you can seal the game off from there. And then kind of the same thing with Chen Pao Baxcalibur. And then you could chase down their Baxes a lot easier in Lost City. So unfortunately with this hand, we don't have an Arven, but we do have a VIP Pass, and we can play the Research. So this is not bad. Okay, so our opponent flips a Medicham. Most Yoga Loop decks for us, like if this is Urshi, Rabbit Strike Urshi, it's not a great matchup for Zard. It's winnable, but it's definitely not great. And if it's Entei Valiant, again, it's not great, but it's still doable. Okay, so it looks like it is Urshi here. And the fact that we started the 60 HP Charmander out of all the times we could have started it is not good. Not good, not good. And then they get Battle VIP Pass. Okay. So this is going to be a little tough here for us. This matchup's tough. Without things like Choice Belt in the list, we actually have a harder time taking a one-shot KO early on their Vs. Having that forces us to grab a Manaphy. We have, like, no choice. We could just research, to be honest. We have the other Pidgeot. Force Seal Stone. Okay, Lost City's going to be important. This actually plays a key role in this matchup, too, because you could poke, like, 2 VMAXs and, like, devolve them. But we want to play around their devolve plays also. It hurts losing 2 vacuums, but sometimes it is what it is. You gotta do what you gotta do. I mean, we could get Jirachi to, like, stop Yoga Loop plays, but, like, that gives my opponent easy targets. I'm just trying to think, do I want, if I bench, like, what would I want? Another Mander? Probably just a second Charmander, so actually Jirachi might be okay. Yeah, we'll do that. And then we'll just retreat. And we do find a VIP pass for another Charmander. So we will retreat here, I think, into Jirachi. Which I guess was unfortunate to grab. But then they can't rapid flow. Okay, so they'd have to just come up with this and... Okay. Or they come up and hit it for 140. I don't want to promote Rotom because that gives them 2 prizes off the rip. And I haven't used my stone yet, so yeah. This is actually fine. This is actually fine. Not exactly what I wanted to do, but... Okay. And we did draw into the Force Seal Stone, so we keep the Rotom around. Again, I forgot I was going to have to retreat and give up a knockout somewhere, so I guess I should have grabbed another Pidgey instead of the Jirachi, or another Charmander. Our opponent plays an Iono out of our awesome hand. It's okay. So I was hitting Arven. Okay. We didn't hit an Arven, but we have a lot of good top decks here that help us. A lot of good top decks here. Okay, so Double Gunner's going to come down. We got to get the... Okay, our opponent kind of missed. That's actually kind of huge for us here. And then we do top deck the Arven. See? Like I said, we got a lot of good top decks. So we have this Force Seal Stone. Now, the thing is, we swing on this Metacham for, like, not knockout. That's, like, what's extremely unfortunate about this. Where it's like... Okay, we could get the Pidgeot at least. The Pidgeot's, like, huge in this matchup. So the lowly 50 HP Pidgey survives. Then we are going to get to evolve up here. We do have a Zard in hand. Again, the Devolution plays though, so I don't want to burn all my candies. We will probably evolve this one. Stop it from being Double Gunner to death or to Yoga Loop to death. Even though Jirachi's in play, they could knock out the Jirachi. I think... I'm just trying to think, do I want to just instant charge here, or do I want to, like, put pressure on my opponent immediately and, like, start swinging? The thing is, our opponent will definitely have a way to retreat. I don't know, they have a 3-card hand. Maybe they don't. That's the thing, too, with, like, Urshifu and Tel. Like, the deck is just a brick fest. Like, I know the deck's good, but there are times you brick. And, like, this could be one of those turns. Or one of those games, sorry. Because sometimes it does just brick. I would know because I played the deck, so... and I played it to a major. I played it to the first regional of the year this year, over in Pittsburgh. And, sometimes the deck does just brick. There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of moving pieces to set up. And sometimes you just get some awkward hands and some awkward draws. Like this, if I can stop the Octillery from coming out next turn, which I can, that's huge in this matchup too. And honestly, I could even Lost City it. But I think, again, how prize mapping is important to do with Charizard. It is with all decks, but Charizard I find it to be a little more crucial. That way you know the lines you need to play to, because your attack does get stronger the more prize cards your opponent takes. If I just actually knock out the Medicham, and then poke a VMAX for like 240, 270, poke another VMAX, we still have the TM Devolution in deck, we can actually just win the game by devolving 2 VMAXs and taking 4 prizes that way. And that might be something our opponent doesn't see coming. So it's not a bad option either. Okay, but our opponent does have an Octillery. So what I think I want to do this turn is actually KO that Octillery. I really don't want to leave it in play. They get a Tower of Water. They don't get a Tower. Okay. So they'll double gunner twice. That means we're in Mayday mode and we need to evolve up pretty quickly here. This poor little Charmander. We're gonna need to get him up and evolved ASAP. So we do have Quick Search. We just need to find another out. As long as we have another out, he evolves up. But then again, there's devolution plays that we have to be worried about too. Okay, so our opponent's hand's pretty dead, right? I know they have the waters. That was actually really strange. Oh, they can't evolve. Okay. Okay. Well, let's see what they decide to feed us. It'll probably be one of the intels, to be honest. I doubt they feed us the Medicham. And they can't Yoga Loop us with Jirachi on the bench. So, if I don't draw an out here, like one of the combo pieces for a Rare Candy Zard, or like even Charmeleon, I think we just boss KO the Octillery. Like, our opponent hasn't done much. The Octillery can find them Karina's Focus this next turn. Okay. So, I could actually collapse away this Charmander. I know my opponent has 1 Water Energy in hand, so they for sure have a Double Gunner next turn. And if I collapse away the Charmander, they actually don't have an easy knockout. And when they bump it, we could bench a new Charmander. We could also get rid of the Rotom. Definitely knocking out this Octillery, though. What do I want here? Here's the thing. Okay. Let me see if I can just get turns with back-to-back boss. On things that I want to hit, but no, because then if he swing, like my opponent swings into Zard, this gets damaged, so we would need to like evolve up. So I'll need to put a Charmander down the ensuing turn, so I should start getting pieces. My opponent goes to 5. We're hitting for 210. Vit Band hits for 220. So I'm actually okay with this Charmander being KO'd here. We'll actually save the Collapsed, and we'll get rid of a Rotom later. Okay, so that's fine. So forget everything I just said. I had to rethink through some of the plays there and kind of what my options were. Now, the reason I kept this in play and didn't find like a Charmeleon, right? Even if I find Charmeleon here, my opponent double gunners twice, it's KO'd, or they double gunner once and then use a Radiant Alakazam if they find it. Really what I wanted to do here is this Charmander already has so much damage. I'm kind of okay with just letting it go, because then Burning Darkness hits for 210. With a Vit Band, I hit for a perfect 220 if they don't evolve up. And then I can bench this Charmander, Collapsed Stadium next turn, and then get rid of the Rotom, which is going to be my biggest liability. So, let's see where they sprinkle this other damage. Okay, so it looks like they're actually not planning to take knockouts, which is actually a pretty good plan in this matchup. If you don't take knockouts, there's like not much Zard can do, because our damage is kind of capped. If they kind of just set up their board for one big devolution play, then that's huge. They're probably going to grab another Remoraid or Alakazam. Okay. And let's see if they decide to move damage counters here to take a KO. Let's see. Let's see what our opponent decides. And where will they move the damage from? They probably will leave it on the Pidgeot. Again, that's a big devolution play. Okay. So they might be setting up for a Yoga Loop play too. let's see what they decide to do. Okay. So an incoming devolution play would definitely be really brutal for us. But there's actually a really cool play we can do here too. Top decking boss is huge. Huge. A really cool play that we can do here is now we get the Charmeleon. I can get Charmeleon with Level Ball. Okay. So we actually grab a Lost Vacuum. Oh no, I had to pitch both. Okay, forgot about that too. What I was going to say is we could like evolve into Charmeleon with the Level Ball, collapsed away the Jirachi, right? But I forgot we dumped both Lost Vacuums early, so it's actually not an option for us. I really don't want to play into the devolution play here, though. Yeah, let's not do that. Let's just grab the Charmeleon. I don't want to play in the devolution play, and I don't want to play into the Yoga Loop. I can just, like, KO Zam. That takes away their manipulating damage counters. I can also just get rid of the Yoga Loop option in general, and then go down to 3, and then I only need to take out 1 VMAX to win the game. So, like, that's an option also. If I do collapse away the Jirachi while getting rid of Yoga Loop, that's, like, probably fine. Okay. So top decking that boss was huge. It's unfortunate we had to 2-hit a 210 HP Pokemon, but sometimes with Zard it just be that way. There's our switch. Okay, so we have a really funky prize map now. I'm going to assume they play a Turo. They could also play a Cheryl. But, okay, they've already used 1 retrieval, and they have a lot of energy in the discard pile. They have 5. They might only be playing 5, actually. So, like, they're going to take the KO here, which is fine. Our initial plan was to just kind of 2-hit KO now a VMAX. And they got rid of our Charizard. That's okay. It's okay. We have the Charizard anyway, because we have an Ultra Ball. Again, though, these devolution plays can be extremely detrimental here. Uh-oh. And if they actually found a water energy, which I don't think they should. I think most lists are only playing 5 now. So they would have had to find retrieval in order to, like, double gunner KO and then hit this for 140. But it looks like they're going to leave this with 10 damage counters on it, which is, like, is fine. Oh, no, this is actually KO. No, it is short. It's 10 short, 10 short. Can't do math. Okay. So my opponent does have a huge hand. I don't know what they're cooking. I'm actually going to just save and hold the Ultra Ball. The reason being, I still have the Lumineon in deck in case I need it next turn. Like if they have a big devolution play and get rid of this. I have Arven, I have Lumineon, I have the last Rare Candy in hand. So like, this is like fine. We have 2 energies left. So I actually do want to evolve up. And we'll put 1 energy here. So like, even if if my opponent devolves me here, and I lose a Charmander, this Charmeleon can still come back and evolve again next turn, because I'd have both Zards in hand. That's why I wanted to prep by putting 1 Charmeleon in play. I might not play a supporter, because I kind of want to hold the Arven, I want to hold the Rare Candy, and I want to hold the Ultra Ball. Again, the incoming devolution play is kind of scary, so I think I just swing here for 180, and then if my opponent doesn't heal this turn, and doesn't have a way to take this and this out, we kind of just win the game, because I quick search boss, even if they retreat, and then I swing and KO this intel for my last 3. Okay, so my opponent's going to Iono again. Let's see what we are able to find here. Okay, so we're kind of in the same spot. I still have an Arven, which is like the big thing. I wanted to make sure I had an Arven or an out to Arven. Okay, so my opponent does finally play Tower Waters. And they do have the retrieval. So actually, if they have the devolution here, this turn is going to be huge for my opponent. It's going to be absolutely huge, because they could take out both of my Zards. Let's just see if they have it. Okay. Okay. Right now, it doesn't look like they do. Depends where they put these damage counters. Let's see here. Because if they devolve me here, I lose all three of these guys. So let's see where the Painful Spoons go. Yep. And they... Okay, they don't have the devolution. We actually just win the game. So, thumbs up, GG's to my opponent. Because we could boss his orders, bring up that Inteleon. Geez, that game was rather stressful, to be honest. But like I said, it is winnable. It's not extremely favorable for Zard. I think it's definitely favored for the Urshifu Intel deck. And our opponent concedes. As you can see, we had the knockout there for 3 prizes. But as long as you take your lines of play, again, any match is winnable, even the unfavorable ones. So, alright. So we have no basics. Let's see what we're playing against here. Pretty good. We start Rotom, Arven VIP. It's a perfect turn 1 going second hand. Sorry. Let's see what we're playing against here. And then you also could use like Call for... So we're playing against Roaring Moon. This is typically like a bad matchup for Charizard, but we could pull through here. Let's check our prize cards. We prized the other Pidgey, so we're going to need to retreat and save that. Counter Catcher is going to be good in this matchup. Our energies, our vacuums. Okay. And our gusting effects are going to be huge too. So we did prize 2 boss. Okay. That's fine. We're fine here. We did go first. Fortunately, we can't leave this Pidgey here. Looks like we're going to have to give up a Charmander. I could Ultra Ball, get rid of this energy again, and like just grab a second like Mander. But I also want to save the Ultra Ball because we Arven for Candy, and we guarantee have a stage 2 next turn and 4 Seal Stone, so we should be able to get Pidgeot and Zard. So I kind of like just holding the hand here and using Instant Charge. I think we're fine. And apparently we're going to just draw into all 3 Arven right away. Good thing is, like, Moon typically doesn't play any hand disruption, so this whole hand here should be fairly safe, at least for the most part. But, you know, we'll find out here in a second if it's really safe. But they're usually going to want a Sada here, turn 1, they'll Squawk. So basically, as long as we take the first 2 prizes, we'll typically usually win the game. So if they don't find a way to gust up this Rotom here... Ooh, but they could Iron Hands the Charmander. Okay. So that would be a problem. What I was going to say, if we typically always take the first 2 prizes here, we always win the game. Because then for the rest of the game, for prize mapping, we just go 2-2-2. And like, prize mapping is really important for Charizard too. Like, you always want to see your routes and your path to victory. Like in this deck, against this deck, going 2-2-2 is going to be the best way. And if we could take the first 2 prizes, we probably almost always win that game, as long as we can stream our attackers. This is another matchup where the Heat Tackle, like Charmander, I really like. So after they like Frenzied Gouging, we respond and just Heat Tackle for knockout. So even if they like hands here for 2, later in the game we can offset their prize trade by taking a knockout on a Roaring Moon with Heat Tackle. So like, the key is to get them to skip a turn of taking a 2 prize knockout. That's kind of what it's going to be for us. But looking into our hand here, we already have Candy, Pidgeot, Quick Search, we have Candy, Zard, we have an Ultra Ball, we have the Counter Catcher. So even if they only take 1 prize here, and Zard's only hitting for 210, we like Counter Catcher, we take out Mew, we can take out Squawk. We're okay. We're okay here. Now if they take 2 prizes, let's say they take 2 prizes with the hands, That's going to take a really big energy commitment. So if we take all their energy off the board and knock out the hands, we'll be tied 4-4. They're probably going to have to try to power up a Roaring Moon, which isn't that hard. They play Dark Patch, multiple Sada, Energy Switch, the Moltres. They'll probably respond with a Frenzied Gouging. On that turn, that's when we need a Heat Tackle for knockout and like combine it with an Iono and try to stick them. As long as we could like stick them to a low hand size, even with Mew restart, they only draw up to 3. They could miss an attack there. And even if they do attack, they'll take a 1-prizer on our Heat Tackle Charmander. So then we just come up with our final Zard and win the game. That's kind of like the game plan here. So, again, it's a lot easier said than done. But, like, let's see how this pans out. I also really like Roaring Moon. I actually almost played Ooh, and they actually missed the KO. This is actually really, really, like, big for us. The thing is, we don't have a KO now, because we don't play Justified Gloves, unless we're able to boss up the Squawk, which we can't do, because we have to Arven for a Rare Candy, and we can't counter Catcher. So, like, this is one of those scenarios where things are, like, dicey. I could spin the wheel, hope to hit a Rare Candy with Pokestop, and then if I do, I could Quick Search with Pidgeot for boss. But probably going to play the safer route here. Just get the Rare Candy and the Force Seal Stone. Okay. So we're kind of still in the same predicament. Unfortunately. Like, we could Heat Tackle this for 30. Stop them from using Frenzied Gouging. And then this hands will probably come up and take 2 this next turn, I assume. And they are down 2 Sada, 2 E-Switch. So it's like, they would have to attach for turn, double E-Switch. Okay. Okay, I kind of like those odds there, actually. I don't think they, like, have it all. I do want to have the Heat Tackle ready to go. Already down in energy. So it's like, this is probably fine. Alright, game froze, so give us a second here. There we go. We got the Charizard here. Geez, game's running slow for some reason, not sure why. Sorry about that. But here we go. So we'll Rare Candy, the active, we'll use Infernal Rain. And then I am actually going to use the Force Seal Stone here, the Star Alchemy. I do want to get this Charmander down, but I actually will save the Level Ball in case I could Level Ball up into Charmeleon. Usually I'd say thin the deck, but I want that out to Charmeleon in case I need it. So what I'm going to do is prepare for the Frenzied Gouging KO, just in case. And then we'll swing for 180. So what I'm doing here with the Heat Tackle Charmander is I'm preparing for a Frenzied Gouging KO from this Roaring Moon. That way if it comes up, it has 30 HP left. We KO it with Heat Tackle. If they use the active Roaring Moon to Frenzied Gouging me, that's perfectly fine. Because then it's 2 for 2, we're both at 4. And then I'm now hitting for 240. So whatever they promote, I can easily just get, have an Arven, so with Quick Search, another Rare Candy Zard, and take another 2 prize cards. And then, even if they Frenzied Gouging that Zard, we just win the game with the Heat Tackle. If they do it that way. But let's see what they decide to do. Because that makes a big impact here on kind of our decision making. Okay. Dire Flame Wings. Again, I know they're down 2 E-Switch. It's like the power of Charizard is you always have so many options. And you have so many routes to take in a game. The hard part is kind of identifying the correct routes to take, or identifying the most optimal routes to take in your matchups, right? Which I think that might be again, it's easier said than done. Because with so many options, there's so many different things you could do. They're definitely going for the Rotom here. Okay. So our opponent does take the first 2 prize cards. Now, our opponent will have access to Frenzied Gouging. So actually, here's what I want to do. I think I actually want to counter catcher this and knock it out. That way their only option for Frenzied Gouging is this Roaring Moon, unless they find another one. I could take their energies off the board too, but then, let's see, if we leave the energies on board with Moltres, they can E-switch twice. Okay. So make sure you can do this. And grab a candy. So our opponent actually didn't do much. This does nothing in the matchup. They didn't do much last turn with their hand, so I know they didn't have a Sada, or they definitely would have played it. So I don't want to Iono, even though they have 8 cards in hand. I'm actually going to take a... Let me make sure we have enough energies here. So we retreated 2. Okay, so there are 2 left. I'm going to leave the Heat Tackle Charizard open. Again, just for a response. We're actually just going to take the 1. Then again, I don't want this Moon to come up in Gouging. I want them to have a harder time to Frenzied Gouging me. So leaving their only damaged Moon on board means they KO themselves too. This means they need more cards to string a Frenzied Gouging KO without knocking themselves out, because now they need a fresh Moon and then a way to power up that Moon. And then, like I said, based off of the last turn and how things went, if my opponent did have the Sada, they would have definitely played it last turn, and they didn't. So right now I'm going off the assumption that they did not have the Sada unless they top decked it or it came out of their prize cards. And there's 2. Yep, there's 2 in the discard pile. So again, that decision was based off of the board state and what my opponent has already played. Like, even in an 8-card hand, it could have been a bad or unplayable 8-card hand. So again, they do get another Roaring Moon down. Okay, that's the extra piece I forced them to find. But even so, there's only 1 Dark Energy in the discard pile, and there's their 3rd E-Switch. So they need a Sada, Attach for Turn, Dark Patch, or E-Switch. Okay, so that's all 4 E-Switch. All 4 E-Switch have been played. Nope, 3. So they have 1 more E-Switch. All their Dark Patches. Okay, so they don't have it yet. But again, I prepared for this Frenzied Gouging attack with this Heat Tackle Charmander. Because now, here's the thing, right? So if they come up in Frenzied Gouging, they go to 2. We mentioned this other Charmander. No, we don't need to, actually. We have Heat Tackle to respond. We Iono them to 2. And we take a KO with this Zard. Off the 2 cards, I know they have Restart with Mew, but it's going to be a lot harder for them to string another Roaring Moon-like attack here. So Rod, let's see what they put back in. I assume it's going to be a Moon. Do they even want it? I don't even think that... Maybe the Lumineon. Yeah. That way they could try to find Sada for the next turn. So they restart for 1. And then again, I was prepping for the KO on a Frenzied Gouging Moon with this Charmander. That's another reason I like playing the 30 HP Charmander. Like I said, sometimes in a pinch, it's a really good attacker. It only costs 1 energy. The promo Charmander, Ember, costs 2 energy, so it's a little harder to power up. So we'll promote this one because that's free retreat. And I actually don't need to search the Iono because we top decked it. I might actually hold the hand here, because we're going to go down to 2. This Zard can clean the game. No need to bench either of these 2. We'll just go ahead straight away and Iono. So then now our opponent's Iono to 2. Off the 2, they're going to need to find a way to Gust and a way to Frenzied Gouging. I don't need that Charmeleon now. So I actually want to get rid of their Pokestop. It takes away their options, so that way they have more things that they need to find and less draw. Again, I know they have 2 off the Mew. I'm just going to take a card out of the deck. And then what I'm going to do now is set up the checkmate for next turn by grabbing a boss's orders now. So in this scenario, it doesn't matter because my opponent's at 2 prizes. But by grabbing the boss's orders, if my opponent were to gust up and KO Pidgeot, that means they didn't disrupt the hand. I win with boss. And then if they do Iono, that means the Pidgeot's in play. And then I can quick search for the boss's orders. Again, I know in this scenario it doesn't matter, but there are scenarios where when you grab the boss's orders to checkmate, no matter what your opponent does, it would matter. Like, let's say my opponent's at 3 prize cards here, so it's kind of a good habit to have. And then now it's on my opponent. Can they find Gust? And can they find a way to power up a Moon to Frenzied Gouging? It also can't be this Moon, because if it is, then they knock themselves out. Okay, so they have 1 piece there. Okay, Sada's huge. But now they're going to need Cross Switcher. And I think it's impossible for them to Gust me this turn, because if you look, 3 Cross Switchers are in the discard pile, but they can play Rope. So my misplay, I actually should have benched another 1-prizer to play around the Escape Rope. Because Escape Rope, okay, so our opponent does concede there. It looks like they kind of knew what was in for them, and that's GG's. But, yeah, slight misplay there. I should have benched a single prizer. And that's Charizard EX. Don't forget to hit that like button and drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the deck. And as always, if you like the videos and the content here over at the Shuffle Squad, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That way you never miss an update and you never miss a video. I'll see y'all in the next one.
You made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching this entire video from the Shuffle Squad. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate each and every person that supports our content, watches what we have going on every single day, every single week, even from time to time, and continuously allows us to have a forum to project our creative content towards the Pokemon TCG community. So if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and even leave a comment to help boost the YouTube algorithm. That being said, we'll catch you with our next video. Thanks again. Take it easy.